The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specializing in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global, support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're steady on the ground.
Alright, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for the King of Sportscast. Normally, I would be joined by Big Boy Mikey to talk all things Ring of Honor, CMLL, Rev Pro in the UK, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. But Big Boy Mikey is still off gallivanting overseas, and so here I am. I'm going to break down some Ring of Honor on my lonesome, and then I'm going to bring in our good friend Lyle from On the Turnbuckle. We're going to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and the best of the Super Juniors and Dominion and all that good stuff coming up. That's going to take up a bulk of the episode. I'm still sort of catching up on Ring of Honor because of best of the Super Juniors and, of course, other things that, you know, All Elite Wrestling and NXT's had takeovers. There's all sorts of things going on in wrestling at the moment, and it's been very hard without the help of my wonderful partner, Big Boy Mikey, just to keep up with everything. So Ring of Honor has sort of fallen by the wayside a little for me. I haven't watched Ring of Honor TV in a couple of weeks, so I don't really have anything in the way of the TV reports, but I did watch State of the Art. I watched State of the Art this weekend, and I'm glad I watched State of the Art because then it hit the news. So we'll talk about that. I'll go through everything that happened on State of the Art, and then we will get into it. So the source that I used, I'm no longer an Honor Club member, gonna be completely honest. The source that I used to watch State of the Art, and I don't encourage this, I think, you know, you definitely support the Graps, but I spend hundreds of dollars on Aussie wrestling, and, you know, watch global, support local is our thing here. So I support local, and then I go up as much as I can, it's to the point where I unfortunately just, you know, Ring of Honor has fallen by the wayside, but the source that I used to watch State of the Art, I think I watched part of the TV tapings. It was really weird. I actually saw, you know, Ian Riccoboni, you know, cutting, like, his little one-liners, like, between matches, doing... It was weird. You know, up next, this and that. Up next, this and that. We're going to a break with, don't forget the action, don't miss it, rah, rah, all that sort of stuff. Like, he was doing all these sound bites in between. He's very professional, Ian Riccoboni. It was interesting to see. Once I realized that I was watching a TV taping, I turned that off and I watched the proper one that I was supposed to be watching, State of the Art. Bully Ray starts the show because, of course, Bully Ray, we'll get to you in a minute, Bully Ray. He tells Sinclair that he's a marked man. You know, Todd Sinclair tells him he's a marked man because of all the mistakes he's been making. He does the Bully Ray thing, you know, lays out an open challenge. And Hot Sauce answers Tracy Williams. He comes out with a garbage can full of plunder, and they have an anything goes match. Tracy Williams actually gets the win. No outside interference. Amazing. Bully Ray finally puts someone over, and then he beats him up after the match because, you know, that's what you do. And then out comes Mark Haskins looking to make the save, but he gets beaten down as well because, you know, Bully Ray just lost a match, and Bully Ray has a fragile ego, and he cannot allow himself to put anyone over. He thinks just by being in the ring with Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley, just by being in the ring with me, I'm making them stars. No, that's not how it fucking works. You're making them look like chumps because he just beat you clean, and then you're beating him and his friend up like nothing ever happened. It's ridiculous. This is awful. Bully Ray needs to go, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Maserati defeats Danica De La Rouge. This was actually a good match between two local girls. Very much enjoyed it. The Allure attack after the match and beat down both women to do the lipstick thing with the industrial strength lipstick. Good call by Ian Riccoboni. They put the anarchy symbol on her forehead. They get into an argument with the crowd. That's going to be important later. The Allure get into an argument with someone in the crowd, and then they leave. And we get Mark Briscoe defeating Josh Woods. Very hard-hitting match. Josh Woods, I'm a big fan of Josh the Goods Woods. I want him to show up in AEW. No offense, Ring of Honor. I'm a big fan of Josh Woods. I like the stuff he does. I think everyone needs a good MMA crossover guy. You know, MLW have Filthy Tom Lawler. WWE now have Matt Riddle. a good UFC MMA style crossover act is a good act to have. And Josh the Goods Woods, I hope he's in line for a push here in Ring of Honor because he's very good. And having a good showing here against Mark Briscoe is going to help him there. Jeff Cobb picks up a big win over PJ Black. The Bouncers win a match that went way too long, defeating the Kingdom, Coast to Coast, Dalton Castle and Roosh, and Shane Taylor and Silas Young, and the Morris Twins in a number one contendership gauntlet match. That's right, the Morris Twins. Big replacement there for the Briscoe brothers. The Morris Twins. What the fuck, Ring of Honor? Anyway, Douche, that's their new name. Dalton Castle and Roosh. Douche. Dalton Castle and Roosh were the highlight of this match. Obviously, they're having a bit of a feud, but they were teamed through a wild card system. Who knows how things work? Wrestling! They were teamed up in this match, and it was very interesting to see the dynamic between them. Obviously, it didn't work out. Then we move on. Jay Lethal defeats Jay Briscoe. This one had a bunch of, dirty finishes. Kenny King comes out. He distracts Lethal because Kenny King and Jay Lethal are having a best of 3 series at the moment on Ring of Honor TV. So they're having a bit of a feud. Kenny King comes out. He distracts Lethal. He gets a chair. He throws it in. Jay Briscoe does it in the Battle of the Jays. He doesn't want to use the chair, presumably because the guy he's going to hit with the chair has the same first name as him, and he just can't bring himself to do it. And so Lethal takes advantage, hits the lethal injection. It was an odd finish, but, it did the job. A bit dirty. Great match before that, though. Matt Taven then in the main event defeats Flip Gordon, Mark Haskins, and PCO in a Defy or Deny 4-way match. Of course, Defy or Deny means that if Flip Gordon, Mark Haskins, or PCO, if any of them were able to defeat Matt Taven, they would get a guaranteed title shot. And if Matt Taven defeats all 3 of the others, whoever he pins last is banned from getting a title shot for as long as Matt Taven holds the title. The order of elimination was as follows. PCO gets eliminated. PCO gets eliminated by disqualification when he uses a chair that Taven introduced. Taven then eliminates Haskins with a cradle pin off a double stomp, and Taven pins Flip at the end of the match. So now Flip is not allowed to challenge for the Ring of Honor World title as long as Matt Taven holds it. This is another good match. Good show, top to bottom. No bad in-ring action at all. Everything was solid in-ring. There's just nothing exciting about Ring of Honor at the moment. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing hooking me. The Lifeblood stuff is alright, but then half of Lifeblood got injured. Half of Lifeblood aren't there. Juice is over in New Japan at the moment. So it's just kind of, it was just there. It was just a show that was there. The big news coming out of this show, though, was the fan who went viral on Twitter posting his story. Let's just read the story verbatim, shall we? So, okay. This is what the fan says on Twitter. Okay, story time. I avoided saying anything until the show was over to avoid any further issue, but this honestly has soured me to Ring of Honor in a big way. Honest to God story that can be backed up by about half a dozen people. The show starts, dark matches, some local girls fighting. Allure interferes at the end. Velvet and I exchange words along with the rest of Allure. Nothing crazy. Mandy Leon spits on me from the side of the ring. Not preferable, but honestly I don't care. Segment ends. Side note, I love and respect like 99% of all wrestlers. I honest to God never try to make the show about me or get myself over. My rule of thumb is to boo the bad guys and cheer the good guys. That's a good rule of thumb. It's rare that I'll flip the script, but I always decide to go along with the show. Some opening match happens, wildly unimportant. Second match occurs, it's a local versus a local. Allure interferes at the end. I'm mouthing off to all the girls for no reason other than they're the bad guys. Boo! You're trash! Get lost! No one wants you here! Etc. At some point, Velvet Sky seemingly loses her cool and is challenging me to come get in the ring, tells me to suck it, calls me a pussy, etc. No problem, get your heat. She calls me a virgin, so I remind her that she has sex with that fat turd Bully Ray. Good call. Call them the Tramp Stamp Trio. End of segment. She goes to the back. Fast forward about 5 minutes, I get a tap on the shoulder. Hey, where was security? We need to talk to you about an incident that occurred. Immediately, I think of the Allure stuff, but think maybe Mandy got in trouble for spitting in my face. And then I kind of think this is a joke, and I look around. No signs of a joke from my buddies. I'm super perplexed and think maybe there's a miscommunication because nothing so far seemed like a big deal at all. I oblige, I follow security. Security takes me legit backstage. I'm still perplexed by the entire thing and was honestly very hesitant to follow them because they kept saying we need to talk to you about an incident but not giving me details, just leading me into the back. What's happening? What's waiting for me? Get to the back. Security is just asking me to be patient. What's going on? I say. Let's just sit tight. Sure, what's up? Hold tight. Time was slowing down, but this was all happening so fast. Yeah, very emotional we're getting here. Suddenly, Bully Ray comes out from a back room, full gear on as he was in the opening segment of the show, and he looks pissed. Much bigger than me, so I'm kind of taking a step back on this here. Security back off, and it's just us two. He says, "Hey, I heard there was an incident tonight with you and some of the girls." Yeah, I guess. I'm so lost at this point. So here's the deal. You're done talking down to them. You need to treat them with respect. Don't be saying anything you wouldn't say to your mum. You got it? I'm not trying to act tough. I was legit being intimidated with purpose, and I wasn't about to get kicked out during match 3. So I just bit the bullet and said, "Sure, yes, sir, yes, I understand, yes." He said, "End of convo, go be a fan." Security led me back to my seat. That's the end in regards to a timeline of events. The whole thing is still completely unbelievable and surreal, honestly. I've gone to live events for 15 years, and I've been following wrestling for 22 years. Never once heard of something like this happening. Wow. What a story. Obviously this fan, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things where who knows if it's a full story, but then we get Bully Ray's side of things, right? Bully Ray says this, "And now the truth. I could not have been any nicer to said fan." He says that with quotation marks. "Yes, nice. Hard to believe. I never threatened, intimidated, or berated said fan. I handled the situation the exact opposite way most would assume, with decorum. Convo lasted less than 30 seconds. I even gave the fan a friendly pat on the back and told him to enjoy the show and go be a fan. His response was, 'Thanks, bully.' Fan version of the story is embellished to make the fan look like a victim. Many other fans who attended the show in Kent and Portland have already confirmed on social media how said fan crossed the line with multiple talents, both men and women. In retrospect, the fan should have been ejected. Unfortunately, it wasn't until after the fan was asked to not be so rude. I don't know why he's using so many quotation marks here. Did we find out that the severity of the vile comments and lewd sexual gestures made towards the women. I think we can all agree that in 2019, this type of behavior towards women is unacceptable and goes far beyond the scope of "I paid for my seat, I should be able to say what I want." I live by the motto, respectful fans always get what they want, rude fans always get what they deserve. At the end of the day, I'm guilty of defending 3 women that needed a bit of defending. Not by being a bully, by being a man. Ring of Honor, for their part, have said that they're going to investigate and that they believe in taking a fan-first approach, so they're going to look into what happened here. Now, I'm sorry, but Bully Ray's story sounds like bullshit to me. The fan story, wrestling fans get carried away a lot of the time. Wrestling fans will say things that are inappropriate. But Bully Ray's story here, Bully Ray's version of events sounds like bullshit. I'm sorry. But there is no world where a fan is crossing the line with performers and being asked backstage to get a talking to by one of the performers' big, intimidating veteran wrestler boyfriends. That is unprofessional as fuck. That is not something that happens. That is something that Bully Ray should be far above. But let's be honest, Bully Ray is not doing WWE agent work or not doing any sort of WWE work or anything like that because he likes to be the alpha man. He likes to be the alpha male. He likes to be the big boy in a small pond. He loves it. He liked it in TNA. He likes it here. And he does this. He's the indie wrestler, or he's the smaller company wrestling JBL. It's what he does. There's so many stories about this stuff. There's also many stories about Bully Ray being a great dude and all about the business and all about the boys. So don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not anti-Bully Ray I'm not as anti-Bully Ray as it sounds. But this sounds like bullshit. And I gotta say, when you get to the point, like, you're putting everything in quotation marks, that's just fucking weird. And then you get to the point where you're like, I even gave the fan a friendly pat on the back. Yeah. Come on, a friendly pat on the back. You're Bully fucking Ray. Right? You're in your full gear. You know? Shout out Hangman Page. I don't know. This smells like bullshit to me. Now, I'm sure that the fan story is embellished as well. I'm sure he probably did say something worse than Tramp Stamp Trio. But honestly, of all the people to tell you what you should or should not say to women, Bully Ray, your mother taught me how. Right? Bully Ray, the things he said to fans in ECW, yeah, it was a different time. We're in 2019 now. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're still a disrespectful jerk and have been your entire life in wrestling, right? Like, we cannot, you are not the person to do this. Security should have ejected the fan if he was crossing a line. What really happened here is this is what it looks like to me. Fan did not cross a line. Wrestler got upset. Wrestler spoke to boyfriend. Wrestler's boyfriend overreacted. That's what happened here, and he needs to be punished for it. Because as well, apparently one of the guys who escorted the guy to the back with security was Delirious, Sans Mask, who is dating one of the other girls that was involved in the segment. The whole thing smells fishy to me, and Ring of Honor should be above this kind of thing. If a fan is misbehaving, the fan gets ejected. The fan does not get pulled backstage and intimidated by big wrestlers who are supposed to be professionals and veterans in the sport. It makes the whole thing look fucking ridiculous. It makes the whole thing look like a carny operation, and it's stupid. And it's a very, very bad look for Ring of Honor. But that does it for Ring of Honor this week. That's where I'm at with Ring of Honor right now. Ring of Honor are doing nothing special on TV. Their creative sucks at the moment. Bully Ray has come in and put his stamp all over it, and, you know, Bully Ray and Delirious just getting their girlfriends over in this Allure group, and then Bully Ray putting himself over and making all the young guys in Ring of Honor look like absolute chumps. He's been doing it for well over a year now. He's completely destroyed Flip Gordon, and Flip Gordon's still managing to get over despite his interactions with Bully Ray. He's completely destroyed multiple talents with his ridiculous booking, his insistence on everything being dirty, nothing ever being clean, him refusing to lay down for anyone. He took a clean pin here in this match and then beat up two guys straight after as if nothing happened because he's a fucking egotistical maniac and he's ruining. You need to get... We've been on this kick lately. Mr. Mysterious and I have been on this kick lately. The Attitude Era needs to die. ECW needs to die. Fuck your nostalgia. The wrestling we have and I grew up, I'm a huge ECW fan. I'm a huge Attitude Era fan. Obviously, that is what I grew up on. But the nostalgia needs to fucking die. Fuck your nostalgia. Alright? The wrestling we have now is the best wrestling that has ever been. This is the best time to be a wrestling fan. You can maybe make an argument for like the 70s or whatever, like the golden era before that when it was all rest holds. Maybe. I don't know. No, you know what? The wrestling we have now is the best wrestling that there's ever been. As we're on an upward trend, and the Attitude Era ECW reverence and nostalgia and the panging for this bygone era, it needs to die. It needs to go away. Guys like Bully Ray need to not be getting bookings. Guys like Tommy Dreamer need to not be getting bookings. Let them work behind the scenes. Let them impart their knowledge, but they do not need to be on television making younger talent look like fucking jokes, and they do not need to be intimidating fans who... Whether he stepped over the line or not, that should never happen. End of story. Now let's get on to a more positive part of the podcast. I'm going to talk to Lyle about New Japan Pro Wrestling. But first, we'll hit you with some ads and things that, support the show. So please support our sponsors. Head to patreon.com/theb+ if you want to support us directly. Then you don't have to hear these. If you are a Patreon subscriber, thank you very much, guys. You don't hear the ads. We're going to go straight to the chat with Lyle. Everyone else, buy some shit.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B+ podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. All right, joining me now to talk New Japan Pro Wrestling, good friend from On the Turnbuckle, and someone who I believe will probably let us know has been to Japan. Lyle, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm very well, thanks, mate. I wasn't going to bring up that I've been to Japan before, but now that you mention it, yeah, I may have went to the most recent Wrestle Kingdom on a wrestling junket, as my wife likes to call it.
Yeah. You may have met Dave Meltzer, but not told him you do a podcast.
Yeah, well, one of my co-hosts, still doesn't let me forget it that I'm not a really good self-promoter that way. That's not what I'm wired as, so I have to really work on that. Where Welshie is really good at that. So yeah, I didn't tell him I have a podcast, but that came out later once I got back from Japan, and I ran into someone that works for the government, and we got a little sneaky tip off, and we got a mention in the Observer later on, but it had nothing to do with me meeting him in Japan, which is weird. So,
oh man, and you're going back, right? Like you've decided after watching this year's Best of the Super Juniors that Wrestle Kingdom is not the one to go to. You want to go to the Best of the Super Juniors final next year. That's what you were telling me, right?
Yeah. So what it was, yesterday afternoon, talking to Welsh, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to organise my tickets to Wrestle Kingdom," and he told me how much his flights were and his accommodation. He got a really good deal, and I may have just floated the idea to my wife, and I actually got a positive response, and she said, "Well, just go. You want to go, Welsh, go." I'm like, "All right." So, drive home from work, like, yes, I'm going to go. And then, watching the Super Juniors, I think I've already done a Wrestle Kingdom. How knobbish that might sound. I really would like to do like the last 3 days of the Super Juniors and lead into Dominion. If I can get an 8 or 9 day leave pass next June, which seems I already have. So I'm in the early stages of planning that trip next year.
Nice. That'll be awesome. Because, the Best of the Super Juniors this year, man, it's been like one of the most impressive. Like, I felt like last year's was an amazing tournament with, Hiromu and Taiji just tearing it up night after night. This year, I feel like Taiji hasn't impressed me as much as he did last year, but the rest of the, like all the block action pretty much has been pretty incredible, with like very few matches not cracking 3.5 stars.
Yeah, there's definitely, and it felt fresh. I know, look, there's, newer talent in there. It just felt fresh and not just guys you've seen all year and now they're all in the same tournament. Which, sometimes New Japan can do, but actually getting that new talent in, obviously we're going to be biased with one of our guys, we call him, Ruby being there, but, just guys like, Bandito and Dragon Lee, guys like, just a different kind of styles, Jonathan Gresham as well. It's just so super different to all that style. I love Jonathan Gresham.
He's one of my favorite workers in the world. His match with Marty Skrull on one of the first couple of nights was like that shit's right up my alley when they're doing all the limb manipulation shit. He's basically junior Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, of course.
Junior Zack Sabre Jr. That's such a weird way to say it. But yeah.
I like it. We should run with that. That's I find with Jonathan Gresham, because he is so different and it's a bit more mat based. He can obviously do the high flying stuff as well when he needs to. The more and more matches you watch of him, I think the more and more you fall in love with him. And even though last night's match was better than tonight's match, I still feel at the end of tonight's match, I enjoy his wrestling even more than I did the previous night. he's so different in that aspect.
Gresham's so adaptable. He can wrestle pretty much any style. And it's a what, he's wrestling Ring of Honor and New Japan at the moment without a contract. Like, how is this guy wrestling without a contract right now? Like, with how hot the wrestling landscape is and how much competition there is for people getting people under contracts, how is this guy not under a contract? You're insane.
Yeah, I think so. But make it more about him. He's, obviously he's just confident in his own abilities. He can, be that ultimate freelancer, I guess you could say. And maybe it's riding his price up a little bit more. Obviously, he's had a stellar Super Junior tournament. His price is growing by the day, I'm assuming. And then, maybe he's just going to see where an AEW falls at the end because, he could be on TV every week and you're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah, no, he can have solid matches with just about anybody. He would be a massive asset to any roster. But yeah, who else stood out to you? Because like people have heard sort of my standouts, and it hasn't really changed much over the last 4 nights. Because I spoke basically night 1 to night 10. I spoke with Jamie Apps last week. So
yep.
If you want to give us like what's really stood out for you throughout this Best of the Super Juniors?
Well, obviously, Robbie Eagles. Obviously, we'll park that to the side because that's an easy option.
Yeah,
but a guy like Rocky Romero absolutely has torn it up. He's had great, good to great matches the whole tournament, and coming from he's just the manager or the heater for showing we all knew he had it in him, because obviously we've seen him wrestle a lot, but I just think he, I don't know if he had something to prove or anything like that, but, even I'm not surprised. Surprised is the wrong word because that's not giving him the credit that I would have already known him to have that ability. So he's really impressed me. He's gone out of his way to have good matches every night.
I likened him
Ospreay.
Last week. I likened him to Ishii, right? Come G1 time, you never get a bad match out of Ishii, and he's no one's favorite wrestler, right? Like if you say who's your favorite junior, no one's saying Rocky Romero. If you say who's your favorite heavyweight, no one's saying Tomohiro Ishii. I feel like super underrated, consistently, 4-star and above. Just like if you talk to anyone, which was Kenny Omega's best match in the G1? Oh, it was the Ishii match. Which was Ibushi's best match in the G1? Oh, it was Ishii. And it's the same here with Rocky Romero. Which was Show's best match? Oh, it was Rocky Romero. Which was Robbie's best match? Oh, it was Rocky Romero. Which was the LP's best match? Oh, it was Rocky Romero. He's done an amazing job for that like veteran that just doesn't get the credit he's due and has never had a major run either.
No, that's what I mean. Like, he's good at the comedy stuff, and he's always great when he's on commentary and stuff like that. He's really good fodder that way. But yeah, like I said, I think he had something to prove, and I think he did.
Boy, did he.
There'd be a more, I don't want to say casual audience watching this, but there'd be newer eyes on the product at this minute that would have only seen Rocky Romero as a manager or as a bit of a comedy act. I think he well over-delivered the whole tournament, and might be an easy answer, but if Will Ospreay's not the best wrestler in the world right now, hats off to whoever is. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's undescribable. It's just his little things. His selling has gotten so much better. The promo he cut last night, which we'll go over later, so believable, and he can incite that emotion, that real emotion. So guys like him. I really enjoyed Ren Narita, even though he finished the tournament with 0 points.
0 points.
But that's better than him. I thought that they may have given him the win on the last night, and then it's like, he finishes with 2 points, and then you might forget that he finished with 2 points. But the finishing with 0, I think it can build into, obviously you're probably going to go off for excursion, come back, chip on his shoulder, I've got something to prove. It's a built-in storyline for future years to come because it's, seeing him most nights this tournament, I think he's going to be a player.
Yeah, he had some really good matches. His match with Robbie was one of my favorites. Robbie had a lot of really good matches as well. Just circling back to Will Ospreay there, and you said if he's not the best wrestler in the world at the moment, who is? I think, obviously the fact Kenny Omega's had, one match this year, so that helps him. And,
yeah, definitely.
And Okada's only had a couple of matches as well, so come G1 time it could change. But if Will Ospreay is in the G1, which all signs seem to indicate he will be, right? If he's in the G1, he'll be the first man in history, correct me if I'm wrong here, but he'll be the first man in history to do the New Japan Cup, the Super Juniors, and the G1 all in 1 year. And if he maintains his level of performance, he's got to be Wrestler of the Year. Got to be.
Definitely. I can throw it out there. Is Kenny Omega going to be in the G1? Obviously, that'd be interesting if he is.
Yeah. Is Moxley going to be in the G1?
I hope so. I'm listening to some of you recent podcasts. He's gone off throwing Brock under the bus and stuff like that, which is fine. But that Chris Jericho one where he said he wanted to throw himself into the deep end and out of his comfort zone. Wrestling a G1 with that style that they have now, that's testing your body to the ultimate in professional wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
So
he'd be a big draw card for that Dallas show, the opening night as well.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, so I just think he's just stepped his game up in every aspect. Obviously he's taken away a lot of the neck bumps, which was, and the neck bumps to me most of the time took me out of the match because now I'm worrying about his personal safety instead of worrying about the character per se.
Right.
So he's taken a lot of that stuff out, which he doesn't need. He probably never needed to do so much.
Yeah.
So now less is more, obviously, with him, even though, he's doing one man Spanish flies and stuff like that, And then save, if he's going to do, I know he's not going to stop. If he does a neck bump on the apron, he can save it and make that mean more, So, and, just his subtle selling that he's been doing, in his match last night, he had his knee worked over and he stopped. Once he got that control, he stopped, he stood there. And he just gives the little shake of the knee, double checking to make sure the knee's okay. Then he kicks the ropes to, okay, it's all right now. And now I can springboard off that knee again. Just the little things, he's growing as a performer.
Definitely. Speaking about his match last night, it was obviously the last night of B block action, and it was down to him and Taguchi. Big match Gooch. Just bringing the goods, right? Like, we forget, because he does all the comedy he's doing the rugby stuff and whatever, right? And you just forget about him. He's in the undercard mixed, with all the tags and everything. And then just all of a sudden he comes out and he has, some standout performances in Best of the Super Juniors. It's just insane.
Yeah, I'll probably put him in the same category as Rocky Romero. What he can do, but he doesn't show that all the time because obviously that's not his role in New Japan.
Yeah, has a role to play. Yeah.
But Christ, did he deliver in this tournament? Obviously he's standing across the ring from Will Ospreay. In that match, just the slow building at the start. The cheeky little bits of comedy in there that are thrown in there that it doesn't take you out of the match. That actually, hey, it's 12 points versus 12 points. There's the B blocks on the line. Putting that little bit of comedy in there just breaks it up a little bit. It's not offensive to the overall match of it. I thought it was an amazing match, and he can go when he needs to, and it's a credit to, the New Japan roster. They got these guys that can work phenomenal with everyone in the world and all different styles. But some guys, they do have to take that back seat to be role players during the year. But, my hat's off to him. He had a great tournament.
Yeah. David, what did you think of some of the newcomers? Specifically, I mean, obviously, we love Robbie, and Robbie's had a fantastic story. It looks like leading into Super Showdown down here. No, not Super Showdown. That's WWE. Southern Showdown.
Southern Showdown.
All these showdowns.
Yeah.
Heading
too many.
heading into Southern Showdown, it looks like there's an angle building between Robbie, ELP, and Will Ospreay, right? With the flag from the tights, that callbacks to PWA we got on commentary, which was amazing, and we'll talk about Gino on commentary soon. But
Yeah.
you had this story play out where he doesn't really fit in Bullet Club, and Will Ospreay is like, the invitation is still here for you to come and join Chaos, right? Do we think that pays off?
I think it has to. Robbie, obviously, his heel work has been really good. I enjoy it. It's different to what we see on Australian soil a lot. I think he's been great at it. But his connection to Will Ospreay and what Will Ospreay means to the Australian wrestling community or bubble, whatever you want to call it, I think that story, it's there to be told, and it should be told. Even, after the Robbie and the Ospreay match, and the backstage promo, and he pulls out the Japanese flag, and he tells that story of, he gave that to Robbie Eagles at PWA and said, that's where you belong. You belong in Japan.
Yeah.
And then he hands it back to him. That's real life stuff brought in front of the camera that we can love, and we soak that up as wrestling fans. That's storytelling at its best, And then you sprinkle, ELP in there, and we all know Robbie didn't need him, and ELP had to, help Robbie to win because he wanted to save his points and
make sure he had the tiebreaker over him. Yeah,
that's right. It was just simple, clever storyline, and I would love to see ELP versus Robbie Eagles in Australia. Hopefully it's in Melbourne, but if it's in Sydney, that's fine too. And then while he's here, Chaos extending the arm, or Will Ospreay extend the invitation. He joins Chaos while he's here. It'd be interesting. And then you've got Gino and Robbie Eagles. They can, while they're over in Australia, they can feud against each other. Now they're in different factions and stuff. I think there's the good storytelling, and then furthering that storyline, I think would be great.
Yeah, so some of the other newcomers, obviously, so putting Robbie to the side, because obviously we love Robbie, and the things they're doing with him are amazing. New Japan, clearly, I mean, you spoke to Michael Craven, and he's been on a bunch of podcasts here. Didn't come on ours, Mr. Craven, sir. The only dedicated New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast in Australia. I didn't get a call. No, it's fine. But, I mean, we heard it a bunch. Like, he's very high on Robbie, and Robbie is integral to their expansion plans here in Australia. So putting Robbie to the side, though, the other two newcomers, really, the major ones anyway, ELP and Doki. That guy.
Doki, yeah.
That guy.
The guy with the pole.
Yeah, the new Suzuki-gun dude. The one who busted Robbie open. Holy crap. That was brutal. But yeah, how did you feel about their first sort of offerings in New Japan?
I think ELP's been great. Look at the start, like his character and stuff, that dance, techno music, whatever you want to call it. It didn't seem like a great fit for Bullet Club a little bit. It was sort of weird, but then, being such a dick of a heel, sometimes I think, maybe he overstepped the mark of, throwing people's hats away, and just the little things that he's doing with the crowd, and, sticking the fingers up at the kids, and, doing all that stuff. Like, obviously it's good heel work. And obviously we know he's a great wrestler, a great in-ring talent. So I think he's done really well. And then by the end of it, I think he does fit in the Bullet Club. So obviously that's won me over.
Yeah, he's kind of like a mini Jay White.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
you're probably right. Yeah, like Jay White. We all thought, oh, does he really fit in? And then, credit to their booking.
Yeah, remodeled it almost. But yeah. I've been chatting online as we've been watching the Best of the Super Juniors. I've been chatting with Todd Eastman of Wrestle Radio Australia, and he's known for being somewhat of a heel himself. And I asked him, as a heel, I'm like, how do you feel about taking a hat from a fan and just tossing it? And he's like, I support it. That means they have to buy more merch. It's like, I would never think of that.
No, that's clever. Oh, bit of promoting in he'll work in that.
The mind of a worker.
Well, 100%. But the professionalism or the courtesy of the Japanese crowds. I'm assuming that fan would have got his hat back perfect. It would have just been handed back very nice. Okay, no, get on with the show. Maybe not in Australia. You probably wouldn't have got that hat back. But...
No. Yeah. But yeah, so we've ended the block action now.
Yep.
And we've got our finalists.
Yeah, it's big.
It is.
Big.
It is. Shingo Takagi sweeping the A block. Just completely sweeping, setting all kinds of records. He's undefeated, and undefeated streaks are, they're a contentious thing in pro wrestling.
So hard to do. So hard to do without the fans, especially this day and age, turning on it or, not really getting invested in the matches because, you look at the card and you're like, he's not going to lose that match if he's on a winning streak.
Yeah.
But I think they did it real well all tournament. He showed vulnerabilities at stages and stuff, and probably steamrolled the guys he really should. Because he's getting that super junior push. I think it's great that he's been undefeated and he hasn't taken a pin even in tag matches all the way through. So it's interesting. How do you feel about it?
I think he's looking like an absolute fucking star, personally. Like, he's one of my favorite wrestlers this year. He's just killing it on all fronts. Like, he's exciting to watch. There's drama in his matches, even though he's undefeated, and you look at it and you do think, okay, obviously he's not going to lose this matchup here. I think the 3 that he might have lost was the show match on the first night, the Dragon Lee match, or the Taiji Ishimori match. Like, those were the ones where it was believable that he'd lose. But even in the matches where it's not necessarily believable that he's going to lose, he's making it believable that he could.
Yeah.
At certain moments. But then in other matches, he's walking all over the opponent, and that's what's called for. And it just seems like whatever they tell him to go out there and do, he does it and then some, and just looks like an absolute star in the process.
Oh, 100%. And even he's back and forth with Ospreay last night. The end of the event promo. Him just standing there while Will Ospreay cut an amazing promo. His facial expressions and everything like that. He just, you're right. He just comes across as such a big star.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction? Do you think he sweeps it and takes the crown?
He's got to, right? I mean, if you're gonna have anyone end it, you could have Ospreay end the streak here, and it's not gonna hurt him. It's the best of the Super Junior finals. Because streaks are hard to end. That's the big thing, is how you end a streak is the difficult thing. And I feel like losing to Ospreay here, he doesn't really lose a lot, especially with Ospreay going up to heavyweight, which it's very clear he's going to. But then I'd feel like Ospreay would have to beat Dragon Lee. I think it makes more sense to have Shingo win in the final, which we'll talk about shortly. We'll break down the entire card. Shingo win in the final, go on to Dominion for Dragon Lee, and then Hiromu comes out, and we've got this LIJ internal, I never lost the title, I'm undefeated, struggle for who's going to be the sort of the junior ace of LIJ.
That's exactly how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing Shingo wins, he gets the title, and we're all hoping Hiromu is going to be physically able to come back in the same sort of way he was previously.
Yeah.
And I would actually give him the first win over Shingo.
Yeah, right.
Just
that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Comeback story. I wouldn't give it to Will on Wednesday night. Because I don't think Will needs it.
No.
He can lose this match and he can still be in the top 3 or 4 in the G1 in a couple of months. I don't see it being an issue. Shingo, he should just keep winning until he loses to Hiromu, which would be great storytelling, and it'd be such an emotional, full circle telling that whole story.
Yeah. Who does Naito corner in that match? Right? Like that's a
It's a
whole
tough
other
one.
element because Naito doesn't have a lot going on right now, so that's a whole other.
No.
It gives him something to do.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, and that's the subtleties of New Japan's booking. They'll be able to tell those little stories, weave it in there, and it'll string us along, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to touch on before we get on to looking at the final night and obviously Dominion, what we know about Dominion as well. I want to say Show is an absolute fucking breakout, right?
100%. I feel sorry for Yo because he's in the same tag team, because Yo didn't disappoint all tournament.
No,
but
not at all.
overshadowed by his tag partner, is always going to be tough. Obviously, one's always going to be better than the other, or, getting a bigger push earlier on than the other. And Show, you're right. He's onto singles greatness, I think, and he delivered. He showed that he's more than capable out on his own. So, I'm looking forward to more singles matches with him.
Yeah. The thing with tag teams, like everyone always, like you talk about, there's got to be a Marty, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to say Marty because I did. That's so unfair on Yo because he is nowhere near Marty Jannetty.
To me,
But,
people always say there's a Sean and a Marty. I say in some teams there can be an Edge and a Christian because Christian was a star too, right?
Of course,
He
of course
wasn't
he was.
Edge, but he was an absolute star. And I feel like Yo is more of the Christian, and yeah, Show is definitely the Edge.
Maybe our generation, we shouldn't look so far back to Sean and Marty. Maybe Christian and Edge is a more relevant term in this. Yeah, definitely. They can both have great singles careers. I don't think Yo's going to be left behind. That's why I thought I feel so bad for him being overshadowed by his tag team partner.
Yeah.
But yeah, Show, obviously in the short term, he looks like a surefire, great singles competitor, which just keeps the New Japan cards fresh. In the mid tier, there's a few guys that are cycling in and out. I think he can take one of those spots and run with it.
Yeah.
In the short term.
You know what I want to see? You know what I want to see next for Roppongi 3K? I want to see, as a reward for Rocky's ridiculous tournament and just how good these two both did as a breakout, I want him to have a run with the 6-man titles, the never open 6-man titles.
That'd be a great idea. That would be a great idea.
I feel like that should be what's next for them because they've had an amazing tournament. Let them have a good run and then sort of start to sow the seeds of descent and stuff with Show's new look and all that stuff and him becoming a star and you can sow all that sort of stuff in there while they do a bit of a run as a reward for just their amazing work because they seriously all three of them were so good this tournament. It was insane.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I wouldn't disagree with doing something like that. And then you can weave in there that Show's getting disgruntled, like, hey, I should be doing more singles matches. You guys are holding me back, and he can, do the full turn on them, and I think he's got it in him. He's got something like that in him. Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with him in the future. All
right, let's look at the final night, June 5th. So as people listen to this, it is tonight. So this is Wednesday. This comes out. So Best of the Super Juniors final is tonight. Quick run through the undercard. We've got Shota Umino, Titan, and Dragon Lee taking on Ren Narita, Jonathan Gresham, and Bandito. So there's going to be some good stuff in there.
Yep.
We've got Shoyo and Raisuke Taguchi, nice interesting little team there, taking on the Bullet Club trio of Robbie Eagles, El Phantasmo, and Taiji Ishimori.
Yeah, I think we're, obviously it's got Robbie in there. We're going to be looking forward to that match.
Yeah, there's going to be some tension there, I think.
Oh, definitely, they're going to play off on that. It'd be really good. Don't rip the Band-Aid off yet, but yeah, there's going to be some tension in there. It'd be good.
Start asking the question: are there too many juniors in the Bullet Club? Because I think the answer is yes. Yeah. Then we go on. We got this one's an interesting one. Tiger Mask teaming up with Jushin Thunder Liger, Yoshihashi, Toru Yano, and Tomohiro Ishii to take on Dookie, Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., Minoru Suzuki, and Taichi. So, yeah, we got, a very ragtag group on the one side, and then the Suzuki-gun, are going to come in and just destroy everyone, presumably.
So you're gonna have 10 men around there. You're gonna have young lions around the ring. Good luck to the New Japan producer in the truck with the camera work on this. There's gonna be chairs being thrown. People are gonna be into the blue barricades. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to follow. It's gonna be 15-minute car crash. Nice Suzuki-gun match. So no, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, then we've got somewhat of a Big Bash heel, strange, main unit alliance with Toa Hanare, Tomoaki Honma, Togi Makabe, and Kota Ibushi taking on Bushi, Sanada, Evil, and Tetsuya Naito. With that's Lij, presumably pick up the win there over. You always think that the established team will take the win over the ragtag collection.
Yeah,
it's not always the way,
so.
But it's always the way I predict.
I'm interested to see they shoot a little angle for Kota and Naito in there. While they do a little bit of a face-off during the match would be interesting.
All right, then we get into the business end of the card. Rocky Romero and Kazuchika Okada taking on Brody King and Marty Scurll. Is this Brody King's first, pinfall? If he picks up a pinfall here over Rocky, could this be his way into New Japan? I feel like Marty Scurll was only in the Super Juniors tournament to introduce Brody King to Japanese fans.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm really interested to see where they go with Brody King. He's such a different look. He's that old school throwback of that big burly guy. Foreigner coming over. Obviously, he's got the tattoos, and so I'm interested to see where they go. Yeah, I'm hoping that he gets the pin over Rocky. I always enjoy when Rocky and Okada team together as well. So I think they're just fun together. I'm really hoping for Brody to really get a nice little shine.
Do we think Brody ends up in the G1? Because presumably, I think there's a couple of spots open in the G1 this year. I'm trying to think of the people that are no longer. I mean, Adam Page is gone, right?
Yeah,
he's a regular in the G1. You got Kenny Omega, presumably is gone. I felt like there's more though. There's like a couple of others as well that won't be in the G1 this year. So there's some spots opened up, and could Brody King fill one of those spots?
I think most definitely he can. He's got the size. He's got such a different look that New Japan, fans are probably not used to right now. This could be the start. If he looks really good, really strong, get that convincing win.
Just the prospect of him versus Ishii just has me. Ooh.
Yeah, there's going to be some sore heads after that. That's for sure.
Just a little bit. So then we have Hiroshi Tanahashi's comeback special singles match with a 60-minute time limit taking on Jay White. Tanahashi versus Jay White. Tanahashi has to win here, right? I don't even know.
I'd be disappointed if he didn't. Oh, he's one of my favorite all-time wrestlers. I really like Jay White.
I feel like both guys need a win here.
Yeah, they do. And I don't think they got enough time on the card for them to do a 60-minute draw. So I think either way, I'm more interested in how they do the finish, and hopefully they can pull it off. Because looking at it, they both do need the win, but I think they'll find a way to pull it off where it doesn't offend us. I feel, but I really, really think Tanahashi should win.
Yeah,
more.
Especially because they're calling it his special singles comeback match. Like it's when you bill it like that, it's like, okay, you got to give the guy the rub here, get the win back over the former champ.
Yeah, Jado's booking. He'll be like, Jay White stole your special. It didn't just heat him up some more. So it could. It's a toss of a coin for me. I have no idea which way they're going to go.
Definitely. And that's always when it's at its best, I think. US Heavyweight Championship match. Juice Robinson against the debuting Jon Moxley. Biggest star in wrestling today.
Of course. In the span of, 10 to 14 days, he's Yeah,
He's
he's
just
gone
everywhere.
through the shirts. Yeah, John Moxley is a bigger star than Dean Ambrose ever was. Is that right to say? It
I'd
sort of
say
doesn't
so.
sound right because he's done WrestleManias and stuff like that, been in high profile matches, but I just think the buzz around John Moxley is so undeniable right now. He has to win the belt, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He can't lose.
You got to think so. You got to think so
Yeah,
because it's his first match out. Like they've built it up with the hype videos. He was the mystery man. It was in front of us all along. But I feel like as well. I mean, this is Juice's fourth defense. It's not. I don't know. And then if he wins this, I think he's a lock for G1, right?
definitely. It's just I don't know. Like, is it? I don't know. What am I more excited about, the John Moxley story or the things that come out of it? The New Japan AEW relationship and Moxley moving forward into the G1, which we all want to see.
Well, the G1
It's
actually
very
clashes with Fight for the Fallen AEW show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe if they're going to allow him to do it, that's awesome. But I can't. Definitely, Kenny Omega, I think, already has a match announced for Fight for the Fallen. So Kenny Omega not in G1. That's not happening. But Moxley, maybe.
No. Moxley be good, and he could be I don't want to say the new Kenny Omega, but this year's, American star in there. It'd be amazing to see him. And I just think it's wrestling quirkiness at its best. You got an AEW wrestler, just leaves WWE, and his first match since WWE is in New Japan. So
they're telling a real good story around it too, with Juice, like, holding the press conference and everything, and referencing their time in FCW together, and obviously Moxley went on to become Dean Ambrose, and he was Dean Ambrose then, I was CJ Parker then, we're different men, and now he's coming into my hometown, like my home promotion where I live now, and it's been a really fascinating story to see unfold, and I'm really interested to see what Moxley's going to do to change up his style, because the WWE style is very sanitized.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think this is, I think what we're going to see is Dean Ambrose without those WWE creative handcuffs.
Yeah.
That's, this John Moxley is what Dean Ambrose should have been. He was almost there when they, was it 3 years ago, maybe a little bit shorter, when people were touting him as Stone Cold, Steve Austin. There was those things, when the Lunatic Fringe, before that got said over and over before you didn't want to hear it again.
Yeah.
But they were there. They were on the tipping point. They just never went fully into it and let him be, but it's the WWE environment. That's what it is. That has to cater to sponsors and, making it child friendly. That's fine. I know he's done his podcast and he's probably shit on the creative and stuff, but it's just
I think he did it really well though. He didn't shit on it so much as he called it what it was and said it's not for me.
That's right, and that's good. I like that, and I'm all for guys that are willing and able to bet on themselves. Like I like that he didn't open that contract. Because it didn't matter, like you said, it didn't matter if there was $10 million in there. I paid my house off, I've paid my mum's house off, my truck's paid for. I don't need your $10 million. He just wants to be creative.
Yeah, he needs that outlet.
Yeah, and that satisfaction of being creative, which, is like you've seen the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega turn down, from all reports, ridiculous money to go to WWE. And that's fine. People, look, Moxley said it in the interview. Some guys like to go to work and be told what to do. That's fine. There's no issue with that.
Other people want to create.
Some people are super creative, and I'm pretty sure Omega said that on Jericho's podcast, months ago.
Yeah.
Some guy. There's nothing wrong with the WWE system. It's just not for me. I need to be creative, and I really. They're just going to go out there, have John Moxley's match and Juice Robinson's match. Here's the finish. This is what we want. Now go tell your story.
I think
And
that's going to
for-
be some of Moxley's most interesting stuff, is working with other ex-WWE guys and showing what they could do. So, like for example, I feel like the most compelling match of Double or Nothing, and we're straying into AEW talk here a little, but the most compelling match of Double or Nothing was Cody versus Dustin, and that was because look what these guys could do without, old Vinnie Mac and the whole system there telling them what they had to be, right? When they were just able to do what they wanted to do, look what they were able to achieve. And imagine when we see that with Ambrose and, I still call him Ambrose sometimes, Moxley and Jericho, right? Because they had matches in WWE. And you'll be able to literally watch these matches side by side. You'll be able to literally go back and watch the FCW match with CJ Parker versus Dean Ambrose and watch this match. And obviously there's years in between, so that's a big difference anyway. But, just being able to see, look at what they had to do there versus what they can do when they're let off the hook. And so he's emblematic in that way. That's why he's becoming such a big star so quickly, because he's emblematic of that. Just let me free and let me show you what the fuck I can do.
Yeah, I think this is a great test case. I feel, WWE, they don't have to be worried about AEW or anything like that. They've got they're worth $7 billion or whatever it is once these TV rights. Once these TV rights kick in, it's it's not just a wrestling company. It's a global organization. It's bigger than wrestling. But this is the best test case of maybe we do let the shackles or the reins loose a little bit, because really, if someone goes out on to Monday Night Raw and shits the bed with their own creative, it's not going to hurt the bottom line for WWE. Anything that they go out there and they say sucker and succotash, which a bloody writer wrote. You know what I mean? I think if a little bit more freedom and that creativity. Look, give the guys the bullet points, the old school way. Give me the bullet points. I'll hit it in my own
Let me
voice
get it
and my
over.
own character. And hey, I might, some guys are going to shit the bed. That's why we had managers back in the day, because some guys couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And hey, we had managers back then because we didn't have script writers. Now there's no managers and we got script writers.
I'd take the old way any day. And then we got the finals, of course. Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi. We've already talked about it when we talked about Best of the Super Juniors, but we both think Shingo takes this and walks on to Dominion to become the champion, yeah?
Oh, definitely. 100%.
All right, so let's talk about Dominion then, because we'll have the winner of the Best of the Super Juniors taking on Dragon Lee for that IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, but there's a couple of other title matches announced already, and this is kind of all we know for Dominion so far. Tomohiro Ishii is challenging Taichi for the Never Openweight Championship. Taichi's at his best when he's opposite Ishii, which, again, we say that about pretty much everyone.
I feel Ishii's he's gonna win. I love seeing him. There's an aura. As soon as he's walking down the ring, there's no frills, there's no nothing. He's just there in that aura. I was speaking to mates last night when he made his way to the ring. There's something about him. I'm in his corner for this match.
You're pulling for Ishii?
Yeah, I am.
It's Taichi's first defense, so I think he finds a way.
Yeah.
But
he probably does.
Yeah. And then we have the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match. Who do you have in this one? Ibushi, Naito. Ibushi holds on to it, right? He's just signed that fresh, long-term, I'm never leaving here deal. The lifetime contract, apparently.
Here till death. I can't see him losing. Definitely not.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, Naito's sort of lost a lot of his luster. There's not a whole lot going on for him, which, a couple of years ago, he was the guy everyone's like, pull the trigger now. And it feels like it's gone. Yeah. It's gone. The moment's been missed.
Yeah. And obviously, it'd be great to heat him up right now and, give him that shine and give him another push. But, you can't sacrifice Kota's run at the minute. It just feels like every time it's almost time for Naito, the story, other than the Wrestle Kingdom, he probably should have won it, and a lot of fans said he should have won that and pulled the trigger then. Every other time it feels like, it's just not the right time for the storyline. Yeah. He's been in the wrong place at the at the wrong time, if that feels like that, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I can't see him winning this. Not that it wouldn't make any sense, but I think Coda's got bigger things to do.
Yeah. And the big one, IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada defending against Chris Jericho, who it seems has failed his way up the card in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, really, he's failed upwards. It's insane. Now, I actually have Chris Jericho picked to win this because there's no way, like, AEW would know what Jericho has on the cards, right? There's no way they're going to put him over Kenny Omega on their first show. I mean, I know it makes sense for them in America because they've got the TV deal coming up and Jericho's a big name, but do you really want to have him win over your top guy, essentially, and then go and lose to New Japan? That just puts everyone in New Japan above everyone in All Elite Wrestling, in a way, right?
It does from the wrestling politics side of it, but New Japan still have to crack that Western market and, the American market mostly. Obviously, that's their bigger goal. I've got Jericho winning this as well.
Yeah.
I've also got Jericho beating Hangman. And how's that going to be if he's got two belts? I don't.
Yeah, coming out on TV in October, the IWGP and AEW champion, and I think that AEW and New Japan are like chomping at the bit to work together.
I definitely think they are. Like, I know when we spoke to Michael Craven, they're big on loyalty, and when their partners are struggling, which Ring of Honor is. I know we spoke yesterday, and you said you're up to date on Ring of Honor, and it's almost not even on my radar at the minute. That's how far they've fallen for me. And there's such great wrestling everywhere else, so it's sort of hard to fit them in. New Japan aren't going to drop Ring of Honor because that's not the Japanese way. They are, loyalists, and traditionally they don't turn their backs.
But I mean,
on
the big question though, for me at least, is so Ren Narita. We both agree he's ready for an excursion, right? Would you rather see him go on excursion to Ring of Honor, or would you rather see him go on an excursion to All Elite Wrestling?
I would rather see him in Ring of Honor just because I think he'd be a bigger deal. He wouldn't get lost in the shuffle at the minute. But, being October AEW TV, once or twice a month would be also good.
Yeah, see, because I feel like I would trust Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes and these guys with my excursion guys far more than I would trust Bully Ray and Delirious. Like,
yeah.
No offense to Bully Ray or Delirious, but like, if I'm looking at people who understand the business as it works in Japan, in America, like, I feel like it makes more sense to me to have a relationship with someone like AEW, with, someone who was your former champion, a number of guys who were your former champions, running the actual show. Like, they understand what you need. They understand what works,
I think it'll be a little bit of a throwback to the New Japan WCW days when there's a bit of the talent swapping as well. I know, AEW being on TNT and all that. There's so many WCW correlations, but he would work in there. I'd just be more mindful. Is he going to be in a prominent spot there to not get lost in the shuffle while they're trying to build their TV and build up these other guys? But yeah, I think AEW, they're going to, they've got to introduce, maybe the Japanese traditions as well, which, obviously Kenny Omega is all for. He lived there long enough. Maybe they bring those traditions back.
Send some of your guys. Send a Sammy G and a MJF off on an excursion to Japan. Do some talent swaps.
MJF in Japan would be so good.
God, the heat he would get.
He might not be allowed welcome back after a month or two. But
he'll get ejected.
He would be so good.
but no, that's so we both agree. Jericho walks out of this IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think so. He's in there. He's got a title match coming up
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
AEW, right?
I'll tell you what. I've checked. Obviously, Red Shoes is coming to Australia, which means there are some titles coming to Australia. Now, I've checked Fozzie's tour schedule, and Jericho is wide open on the 29th and 30th. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, when Michael was teasing that a bigger star than Okada was coming, to Dominion, we were hoping for Moxley, obviously, but to Australia, I mean, a bigger star than Okada.
For the showdown.
They've released, they've released Tanahashi. In Japan, maybe, but on a worldwide stage, Jericho and Moxley are a bigger star than Okada.
Yeah.
So I'm holding out hope one of them, and if he wins the belt, I see him coming down the showdown. So
yeah,
and Red Shoes there,
big
it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I know Jericho. He wants a match with Tanahashi, so maybe Tanahashi beats Jay White and maybe gets a title match in Australia against Jericho.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, hopefully.
That would be amazing. That would be huge. That would be huge for us.
Yeah, I just feel, Red Shoes coming out. Tanahashi beats Jay White and has a title match against Jericho in Australia. And I'm going to say this on the podcast. If that's not in Melbourne in Festival Hall and they sign that match for Sydney, I'm flying up the next day. I'm going to the Sydney show as well.
Yeah, Festival Hall has to be the place where they do a big title match, right? It's got to be. Hell, bring them both. Yeah. Bring Moxley and let Moxley and Juice have a rematch on the Sydney show, right? There you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, there you go. See, now I might have to fly to Sydney anyway.
Let's make New Japan Australia huge. Anyway, where can people find you if they want to hold you accountable to the fact that you have to fly to Sydney, Lyle?
My word is my bond. I always show up to wrestling events that I say I'm going to. 110%. You can hit us up on all social medias on the Turnbuckle. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We try not to take wrestling too seriously. We try and this is a breath of fresh air. This is not what we do on our podcast. We more sort of take the piss and we just say, yes, we like this match, and yes, go and watch it if you like. We don't really break down matches. Sort of just have fun with it. But this has been a breath of fresh air. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's just long and more OTTB. Thanks for having me, mate. It's been great.
That's all right, man. Thanks so much for filling in for Big Boy, because Big Boy's over in the States, and so it's been good to have some fresh voices on the show, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the future. But and people, if you want to find me, I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter, because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do, and thank you so much for listening.